Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the All-in-One Nerd Show. I'm your host, Labruski. With me, as always, is my good friend Illuminerdi. Illuminerdi, how are you doing?
Hello, I'm doing great. I'm back from a vacation, recharged, rejuvenated, all the
Good,
good words that I'm not thinking of, but I'm all that. Yeah.
awesome. That's good to hear. You're no longer sick, so that's also good.
Yeah, no muting my mic to sneeze and blow my nose this time around.
That's always a plus, right?
Yeah.
Um, good, good. So today we're going to talk about the new Invincible season 3. So I'm excited to dive into that. But before we do that, what have you been reading the last week or week and a half, really, since we did a show?
So I came a little prepared more than I usually am.
Nice.
So I'm currently reading Rain by the Joe Hill and Zoe Thorogood. So I'm
Yep.
currently reading that. Um and probably, I don't know, maybe 5 to 10 pages in. But I did read 3 books on vacation, one
Wow.
of which you inspired, which is We
Nice.
Called Them Giants.
Nice.
Um, I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, we might need to have a discussion about this guy because I would love
Sure.
to hear your thoughts.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then we have We Stand on Guard by Brian K. Vaughan. Uh,
Fantastic. I
phenomenal story. Phenomenal story.
I also read that this week, and my next Comics Corner video is on that next Wednesday.
Really? Whoa,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
cool.
Yeah. So
Uh,
I enjoyed it. I got the trade paperback. Um,
yeah,
but
I was gonna
I thought
ask
it was good.
anything you can, um, I guess, spoil as far as your thoughts.
Um, I thought I really like the artwork. I think the message is very like heavy-handed. Like it's almost very on the nose.
Yeah,
Um, the ending I thought it was okay. I will say I wasn't too emotionally attached to like any of the characters at all. Um, I think if it was like maybe 12 issues instead of 6 where we could have fleshed out, I really would have liked a bit more details on the relationship between Amber and then her brother. I can't remember the name of,
yeah,
because I felt that was a little stale, and the other rebels and stuff I didn't really find myself caring about. So I think it would have benefited a lot more if it was maybe 12 issues instead of 6. That's kind
yeah.
of my overall review, I guess.
I think I'm somewhere in that camp. I think what I did enjoy was like the dialogue as far as um like I don't know how to dance around this one without spoiling it for anybody watching. But like the main villain and kind of her origin, which you probably know what I'm referencing, but yeah,
Yeah.
I liked that kind of play there, but um, I didn't think it was perfect by any means. I do agree, art was great and probably one of the best first issue openings in comics. Like it really had me hooked right away just because of that brutality in that first
Wow.
issue. But one read that I did have that absolutely just floored me. I loved
Yeah.
it was Dawn Runner.
Oh, I need to read that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to
Wow.
get that hardcover and check that out. I think actually I have the first issue. I'm pretty sure I bought it when it was first coming out, I
Yeah.
believe.
I think you
But
said that last show, I think.
yeah. So how
Yeah.
was it? Did you like it?
This was phenomenal.
Awesome.
Ramvi as a writer is sometimes hit or miss for me. I think sometimes he's like a little more like highbrow than my typical taste. Like you can tell you got to really read into what he's saying, but this was a little more on the nose as far as the story went. But Evan Cagle, who does art in here, holy crap! I mean, just like so much momentum, fluidity, motion. It was incredible. It literally felt like I was watching a movie the way
Wow.
he drew it. It was so good, and it has such a incredible ending, and gave me the warm and fuzzy feelings. But yeah, but also for anybody watching, and also you, Labruski, I'm
Mhm.
trying to get better at using my Goodreads. So if anybody does
Okay.
want to have a little behind the scenes rating on books that I read, you can go to my Goodreads. It's Illuminati Reviews.
Cool.
Um, I'm even doing my backlog, books that I've read like a year ago. I'm like rating them, so I'm catching up. But yeah,
I'll
I wanted
have
to check
to,
it out.
I like good reads. I wish it wasn't only 5 stars, or you could do, like, half a star.
Yeah,
I really, because I'm like, this book's like a 3.5, and it's like, well, do I round it up or round it down, you know?
yeah,
So I
yeah,
wish they would change that to either 10 stars, or you could do half a star.
yeah.
Cool,
How
but
I got burnt
awesome
out on
idea.
it is I felt I had to type a review for everything I read. Like I felt so bad if I didn't type out like a 3 paragraph review, which you'll see my first 3 reviews. I did that. And then I was like, what am I doing? Like nobody else is doing this, you know? So I just started like doing the whole rating thing and just said, screw it. If I
Yeah,
get back to it,
sometimes I'll add, like, a little sentence or 2, but most of the time I'll just rate it and post it, and that's what
yeah.
I think. We have GK Ultra in the chat. What's up? I hope you're doing well,
Uh,
man. Um, cool. So you've read those three books,
yes.
all really good books. I definitely need to buy Dawn Runner though. That's one I know I'll probably like it, so I definitely need to check that out.
Yeah.
Um,
The one thing I will say about Dawn Runner, sorry, before we get into the actual topic,
no,
um,
that's fine.
the inspiration for that comic is very, very on the nose. Like you can tell it's really inspired by like uh Evangelion, Pacific Rim, really all of the giant robot series that are kind of out there, and they
Okay.
don't shy away from that. But I personally really enjoyed that. I've noticed on from Goodreads that some people disliked that, but I
Hmm.
happen to really like that inspiration. But that's me.
Okay. Cool. Awesome. Um, have you been watching anything either since our last show?
Um, I watched Borderlands on the plane.
Borderlands.
Yep.
What did you think about that? I haven't seen it, and I'm not really a fan of the video games. Not that I think they're bad, I just haven't played them. But what did you think? I hear it's not great.
So I am a fan of the video games, and
Mhm.
while I didn't love the movie, I do think it's a little overhated because I think if you come from a background of the video games, which is very much a game series that doesn't take itself serious, this movie does that exact same thing. Like it just kind of is full of jokes and just stupidity, but that's like the point.
Sure.
Um, so I came out of the other side enjoying it. I didn't love it, but I had fun with it overall.
Okay. Well, that's always good, I guess.
Yeah.
When you can kind of recognize that it does have some flaws, but at the end of the day, you thought it was fun. You had a good
Yes.
time watching it. Um, cool. I watched Dune Part 1 and Part 2 for
Ooh.
my movie show I do, and man, those movies are great. I
Yeah.
really liked them both. I really did. Um, have you seen those?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think
Yeah.
when we did our little movie show, I think it was in one of my top movies of the year, I think.
Okay.
But yeah, phenomenal. I mean, Dune 2 knocked my socks off. Um Dune 1 was obviously slower, but it was very building the world and
Yeah.
everything
Yeah.
like that. But Dune 2 is great. So good.
I think I honestly might like the first one a bit more still.
Mm,
I do. I don't love the Freeman stuff, which is like a majority of the movie. especially in like the second half where we just see Paul like trying to like fit in with those guys and like, he rises up to be the leader or whatever. So I would have liked less of that and more of the bad guys and more with the Emperor and stuff.
Yeah.
I really like the Baron character. I would have loved to see more of him. So, but the third act in the second film was amazing, like
Yeah.
phenomenal. Just amazing. So I mean, overall, I think I gave both those films like an 8 out of 10 or 8.5. Like I
Yeah.
really dug them. Yeah, that phenomenal films.
Yeah. And you also reread Hush, which is one of my favorite Batman stories also. That was fun to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, that was I like Hush a lot. I think it is one of my favorite as well, and I think I say that in the video. Like
Yeah.
it's just like a fun blockbuster almost,
Yep.
where it's like it's just a fun Batman story. Like the detective aspect of it is not great in the story itself, and I'm not even a huge fan of Hush.
Hmm.
But just seeing Jim Lee's art and all the Rogues Gallery and Superman and Catwoman, just incredible.
Yeah.
That to me is what makes the comic so good. Um, and I can see why maybe people don't like it or whatever, but it's just for me, it's like one of those like turn off your brain and just have a good time with it almost. You
Yeah.
know,
And I also think like it's uh it's one of those comics too where it hasn't dated like super well, like all the knowledge that is now behind Batman and all of his stories. But like when it was coming out, like I mean, the big reveal of who Hush is felt kind of shoehorned, but also at the same time, I mean, it surprised so many people because of the death that kind of happens in the story too. So I mean, it's one of those stories where I think a lot of its shortcomings is based on the reader. Like some people see so many flaws where others will see it as like utter perfection. So it's like mileage may vary when it comes to that story so drastically.
yeah, it's interesting. I was talking with Bunk. I had Bunk on the channel, and I was interviewing him on Tuesday night, and I was talking a bit about Hush with him, and he said that initially the red herring, who is the reveal was originally the red herring, and
Hmm.
the editors and people at DC did not like the actual reveal, which was supposed to be Jason Todd, so
Yep,
they wanted to change it. And so I do agree. I think it for me at least it does feel a little shoehorned in, and I think if they stuck with Jason Todd instead, I think it would have been a stronger story. To be
I
honest,
agree.
so it is kind of a shame that DC was like, no, we're not doing that, and then they brought back Jason Todd anyhow.
Yeah, in a
Um,
way more anticlimactic way. Like that
yeah,
would have been so
yeah.
great in Hush.
Yeah, so it is what it is. I own the Absolute Edition too, and I love it. Although it's my edition's like falling apart. Like I think it must be like the first print of it. I don't know how many prints it has. Um, but yeah, it's like really falling apart. I got a good deal on it. I got it for like originally like $60 off a guy on eBay.
Mm,
And when I got it, I noticed I was like, oh, this thing's kind of like falling apart. Like what's. So I messaged him and he was kind enough to be like, I'll give you like half a refund. And so I got it really for like $30. So
nice.
and I still can read it, so it's like whatever. But anyhow, let's talk a bit about Invincible, why don't we? We'll
Yeah.
get into the topic. So what are your initial thoughts on season 3 so far?
I'm gonna say still enjoy it, but a little underwhelming personally.
Okay,
Yeah.
interesting. I would say I think it starts off a bit slow. I think like the first episode is a little slow for me,
Yeah.
but then the second and third really pick up, I would say. Um, I think it's more of the same. I think it's definitely still like on the level of quality that the first two seasons are on from a story. Well, I will say I think the animation's a little lackluster in this season for some reason.
I was gonna say.
Um, but the story is still there. You know, it's more the same with the story. You know, and you know, it does really follow the comics, which is not a bad thing at all. You know, overall, I enjoyed it. You know, I have seen the fourth episode as well, which I enjoyed as you know quite a bit too. You know, I think
Yeah.
it's keeping up with the pace, I guess. So let's talk about the first episode.
Yep.
I will say, I guess the biggest thing with this season in particular, it feels like, is the relationship between Cecil and Invincible now is like getting distorted almost,
Hmm.
where you know it's the honeymoon phase is kind of over. It feels like
Yeah.
not that I think Invincible always had his issues with Cecil, and Cecil I think always had his issues with Mark, but now it's definitely come to you know come to a head. So what do you
Yeah.
think about that?
I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, it was kind of a tough love father son type of situation post everything that happened with Omni Man.
Yeah.
But one thing that I really did enjoy, which we can talk about more when we get into episode 2, is kind of how the friction came to be. I I just remember reading it in the comics, and I didn't get the vibe or tone of how their relationship soured that the show came across with. So that's
Okay.
kind of where I wasn't enjoying it as much because of I felt like it was kind of a deviation of Cecil's character in a way, um but yeah, so I mean I definitely like the friction taking place. I love that part in the comic books, but it felt different tonally in the show, I guess is what I'm saying.
So wait, I guess I'm a little confused. Do you think it was better in the comics or the show, the friction?
Better in the comics, yeah.
Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, to be honest with you, my memory when it comes to like plot details, and I think I've talked about this on the show, is not great. Like I forget a lot, which is
Yeah.
kind of a good thing in a lot of ways because it means I can like go back and reread it. Like I have a general idea of what I felt about it. Um, so so I think it for me at least that tension that we see kind of play out in the first 3 episodes works. It makes sense. But let's jump over to the chat real quick. A fifth of Jack Gaming just stopping by saying, "Hi guys. I hope you're doing well, Adam. Going to take the other half out for Valentine's Day. LOL, just wrapped Arcane. LOL, spin this off topic. LOL. Um, well, have a good time out and about with your spouse. Enjoy, and I'd be curious to know your thoughts on Arcane. You're a fan of Arcane, right, Tyler?
I am. I talked to
Okay.
Adam a little bit today about it.
Oh, nice.
He's actually 2 episodes ahead of me, so he really powered through, but yeah, I'm gonna finish it for sure.
Okay. Cool. I've tried to get into it a couple times and never stuck, but maybe you know maybe we can do a show on Arcane and have Adam on, and I'll power through it and watch it all. I'm sure
Yeah.
I'll end up enjoying it. You know,
I
we have
will say it picks up maybe like episode 3 or 4 of the first season, but the beginning is very
okay,
slow. So
got
I
it.
agree.
So I haven't stuck with it enough yet.
Yeah.
Okay. We have Alexander Miller, aka the Comic Central. Hello, nerds. Hello, nerds. Hope you're doing well. Uh, why is my mouse not working? There we go. Jack Cola, what up, dude? Alexander Miller enjoyed the first 3 episodes. Good to hear. That's your
Hit
comment.
me.
I can watch some of the show here. Then I'm seeing Captain America. Ooh, let us know your thoughts on Captain America. We're doing a show Tuesday at
Mhm.
7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we're going to talk about that. And I do kind of want to talk about that at the end of the show,
Yeah.
Captain America, real quick. But back to Invincible. Like I said, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was the first episode a little slow to begin with, and then it kind of picks up. Um, so I thought it was okay. I'd give it like this episode in particular, probably like a 7 out of 10 or something. Maybe a 7.5, I'd say.
Yeah, I'd probably say a 6. I really actually liked the training montage and showing how far along Mark has come when it comes to, like, his abilities,
Yeah.
but the, Doc Seismic stuff, I honestly, this goes for the comics too, like, there's always, like, this, like, filler storyline in between major arcs in the comics, and this
Yeah.
was
Yeah. Yeah.
one, and honestly, they kinda stink, they're just filler stories, so I
Right.
wasn't expecting much, but I really
That
I hated the centipedes beating the crap out of Mark right after we saw how powerful he was. It was like,
I
uh,
completely agree. That was my biggest issue with episode 1, and I have it written down. It's like, okay, if I was Cecil, let's say, I would be like trying to get Dr. Seismic or whatever and the centipedes on his side to take down the Viltrumites because obviously they kicked Mark's ass.
yeah,
And so I didn't like that at all. And how quickly a Seismic and the centipede defeated Mark. I was like, that's so stupid. Why would they? So that's probably my biggest problem with the season so far is
yeah,
really the end of episode 1 with that. Um, I just thought that was stupid. I really
yeah.
did.
The other issue
Um,
I had is, like,
yeah,
they came in ready to rescue people, right? And then they just start kicking ass, and it's like,
yeah,
rescue somebody, just
I
rescue
know,
one person.
I
Stop.
know. Yeah, I completely agree. Let's see what the chat's saying. Jack saying Arcane is cool. Alexander is saying my favorite character is the narrator coming back from last season. Um, I'm trying to remember who's the narrator.
What's he talking about?
Is he talking about Arcane or Invincible?
I don't know now.
Let's see.
Clarify, Alexander.
Alexander,
Sorry.
because is there a narrator? I'm trying to remember. I don't think so.
I don't think there's one in Invincible, right?
Maybe like in one or two scenes that, yeah, I don't know. Alexander, let us know.
Oh, he's in
Oh,
episode
episode
4.
4. Okay, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, okay. That
I
was
haven't
that
seen
was
that yet.
yeah. Okay, I know what you're talking about. A Fifth of Jack Gaming, agree. Takes a bit to get the wheels going, but I enjoy the character development with some wink wrinkles of action. Have to say that intro song, I enjoyed that a lot.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm confused if he's talking about Arcane or Invincible now.
Arcane,
Okay, okay. I think I prefer the transitional Mark's relationship in the show better than the comic.
I would agree.
Okay. I really don't remember the transition.
He pretty much just kinda, like, dips. Like, he just dips on
Yeah.
Amber and goes to Eve.
That's that's kinda what I remember. Yeah,
Yeah,
so I think here they take it a little more slow,
yeah.
where yeah. I think I need to reread Invincible. Would agree whole Mark getting his butt handed to him. Yeah, I think that was not a great moment, in that show. Um, I have thought about rereading Invincible, but it's just such a commitment,
Yeah.
and I think I wanna wait a couple more years. I think I will reread it eventually, but I wanna wait a couple more years till it's less fresh in my mind.
I personally reread, like, Conquest to, post Viltrumite War. I feel like every so often because that's, like, my favorite, like, 2 arcs in comics, like, they're just so
Okay,
kick-ass.
cool. Paul F. Tompkins is the narrator. Not sure who that is. I will not talk about Arcane as I haven't seen it. Well, that makes sense then. Arcane LOL, does Invincible even really have an intro? No, not
No.
really. Not really. Um,
Have you noticed what they're doing with the intro this time?
it looks like they're doing like the dimensional thing where they're teasing like other versions of Invincible.
Yeah. Yep,
Yeah. So, and I like it. I think that's cool.
I do too.
Yeah, I dig it. So episode 1, definitely the weakest out of the 3 in my opinion. I will say, and we can kind of dive into the other episodes here and talk about that. I don't totally disagree with Cecil and his reasoning. It makes perfect sense. And
That's why I'm saying I don't like it.
yeah, well, I'm like, Mark's just being kind of a whiny baby in this. Like,
Yes.
how can he not see that it probably is for the greater good, you know? And yeah, I maybe that's the point where they're trying to make, I don't know, maybe they have another reveal that shows that Cecil is like wrong in his ways and you know whatnot, and Mark was right. But from what we've seen so far in these 3 episodes, and I will say episode 4 too, um, it, I my, I agree with Cecil more. I do.
So we'll get into the nitty gritty on episode 2 now since we're there.
Yeah.
So in the comics, Cecil, for me, maybe I'm reading way off. I don't know, but Cecil came across as a power hungry, bordering maniac that really wanted to show that like he had Invincible in his pocket and he could take care of Invincible if that ever happened, if that ever needed
Mhm.
to happen. Where in the show, it was like him trying to defend himself, where it didn't feel like that in the comics at all. It like Cecil was a
Mm.
bad guy in the comics, but in the show, it felt like he was just trying to like tame Mark and tell Mark like we have weapons and this is what I needed to do to avoid another um like your father incident happening. But in the comics it does not come across as that at all. So I don't know why they changed that, because it's like Cecil doesn't even seem like that manipulative, slimy, overly paranoid character. He just seems like a guy that's trying to like protect the country to the best of his ability as an ordinary human, where
Right.
I never got that vibe in the comics. So I don't know. I did not like that at all.
It's interesting. Like I said, maybe they're planning something else where they do reveal like Cecil, or will show us that Cecil's like not a good dude, but like from what I've seen, he hasn't done anything like too wrong. Like his actions make sense.
Yeah.
Like it makes perfect sense. You know, like with I can't remember the guy who creates the hybrid human monster things. I can't remember his name. Um,
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah, I can't remember what it is.
I want to say Phil, but I know it's not Phil.
I don't think it's Bill.
Yeah.
I think it's something weirder. Um, but it would make sense. Like Cecil saw those robots kick Mark's ass in the first season. So it makes sense. Like, you know, okay, we have a bit of a Viltrumite problem here. Let's take this guy and have him create a shit ton of these monsters for the greater good. So I don't know. I do kind of think Mark's in the wrong in a lot of ways. Or he just needs to see it how Cecil sees it and realize like he's kind of doing the right thing to protect humanity. Um,
Yeah.
you know, there is a bit of a price to pay, but I don't know. I think
Yeah, and
it,
then they show his background, and I feel like in the comics, when you kind of see where Cecil came from, it shows that like he was once a good guy, but it's almost the absolute power corrupts absolutely. Like once he was put into this position where he was calling the shots, he wanted to control everything. Where
right.
in this, it's like he's still the good guy. It's just he's willing to go the extra mile if he needs to, which is like, in a world full of superheroes and supervillains, yeah, you do. So
It
I
makes
I
sense.
so I don't know what
It makes
route
sense.
or what direction they're going with that character at all. Like they're definitely not going the comic book route. I know that for sure at this rate.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how else it plays out. To see if there's another reveal for Cecil that does show him as this kind of power hungry lunatic in a lot of ways, or what? Like I don't know. It's
Yeah.
so
Yeah. I don't
I
know.
guess now that we're
Very
talking
weird.
about it, I do see where that tension is kind of lackluster for you, for sure.
Yeah.
But I do
I'll, his name is D.A. Sinclair, by the way. I just checked real quick.
DA Sinclair, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um so I'm trying to remember what even happened in the second episode. Um
It was
Remind me.
it was mainly the fight and the background of Cecil with the Fist of Freedom or wherever
Right.
the
Okay.
two
Yeah.
were, and then the prison scene where you see that he can gain control pretty rapidly if need be.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember. Yeah. So I think from what we've seen with Cecil's background, there's nothing like alarming or sinister about kind of what he did um,
Yeah.
at all. Like, I don't know. And I do kind of think Mark's being a baby. He needs to learn to like swallow that pill of like, he may not like it, but it does make sense in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Um, let's look at some of the comics we need to catch up. Okay. I will read all of Invincible when they reprint the third library edition. Awesome. I'm jealous. Those library editions look awesome. I was tempted to buy those at some point. For the Jack. All right, I am out. Have a great stream, guys. Catch it on the replay. Awesome, Adam. You take care. Have a good time out with the spouse. And yeah, have fun, man. I think that I'm on the fence. They should be in prison, but they can help. I feel like that's kind of what they like. They're not out and about, really.
Yeah.
Like they are very much on a tight leash. I feel like. I don't know. Uh-oh. Labruski, I must let you know that Jake said he's canceling the interview on your channel to be on my podcast. I kind of doubt that, Alexander. I'll be honest. I haven't gotten word from Jake about that, so I have a skepticism with that. D.A. Sinclair is Ezra Miller doing almost zero acting. It's just him. Didn't he got recast, though, I think, for the second and third season, I believe.
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, which I never liked Ezra Miller at all. I always found him to be so freaking annoying. So I'm kind of glad he's like on the out now. Like I did not want to see him in more movies. I don't think he's likable at all. He's just pretentious. I can't stand that.
Yeah. The only movie I like Ezra Miller in is Perks of Being a Wallflower, where he kind of just plays himself, and that's who he's supposed to be.
Yeah,
so
I didn't really like that movie, to be honest. I found it to be too annoying and
I
too like
love that
cringy.
movie.
I was like,
that movie.
I turned it off. I was like, I can't watch this anymore.
Whoa, that's probably my top 10.
No, I hated it. And it was
That's
partly
crazy.
because of Ezra Miller's character. I was like, this guy sucks. Anyhow, back to Invincible. Yeah, second episode. I thought it was better than the first, a little more action heavy. Going back to the animation in the first episode, I felt like the opening scene was him fighting like this giant monster, and like it was so lackluster and so bland. I was like, they could have like, and I saw some scenes comparing it to like the first and second season fight scenes. I'm like, what happened? Like, why are they kind of like cheaping out here? And I wouldn't even say it's not bad. Like it looks good. It looks okay. I will say. I want to say it looks good. But it seems like they're kind of taking some shortcuts, which I don't like.
Yeah.
And the way they walk and move, I think I'm just like, I'm not a fan of this. And to be honest, I was never really a huge fan of the animation style other than like certain fight scenes. I thought it was like awesome. I don't know. It seems too stiff.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is the fight scenes actually work for me. It's just the like walking scenes or the scenes where they're like face to face talking. It's almost the exact same thing I had an issue with for Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, where like everything's just so stale and flavorless and robotic. It's like nobody moves like this when talking, it's like just have them stand there at that rate because it does not look great.
Yeah. And I think the story and the characters really are the ones pulling the weight when it comes to this show.
Yeah.
The animation is not spectacular. Like I said, I think it's passable. Like, I much prefer this than like the Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
I much prefer this, but I don't think I feel like they can just do so much more with it, and I feel like they're missing opportunities. So I don't know. It's like I said. I think the animation has taken a bit of a backseat, and the story and the characters have been definitely kind of driving the TV show
Yeah.
uh, in terms of quality, I guess.
I guess from what the rumor wheel is saying, which obviously take that with a grain of salt, is
Hmm.
that the animation's taking a backseat because the cast is getting bigger. And obviously, Oliver's voice actor is a pretty good actor. He was in Sweet Tooth. I forget his name. Um,
Oh, that kid.
um,
Okay,
yeah, um, duplicates brother
brother.
was a multi-Paul, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, another high-end voice
Is it?
actor.
Is it? I thought wasn't that Shang Chi the actor?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Simon Wu, I think.
same thing with the two thieves, which is like it's like Dropkick and
I can't remember.
like I don't know what the other character's name is, but they're voiced by the guy that played Blue Beetle. So another like pretty
Oh
well
wow.
known name. So it's like, but then it's like those characters appeared in one episode. Like, are we gonna revisit this or is this even worth paying for that caliber of voice acting? I don't know.
Sure.
It's kind of weird.
That's interesting. I haven't thought about that because the cast I feel like has always been pretty stacked,
Yeah.
and the voice acting is amazing. It really is.
Yeah.
Um, so that's interesting that maybe they're prioritizing getting good actors or voice actors,
Hmm.
or not even because they could get good voice actors that aren't uh, you know I don't want to say household names because some of them definitely aren't, but are lesser known, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and a bit cheaper, but would do just as good of a job. So that's interesting. I have not I've not thought about that, and I haven't heard that rumor at all. Alexander Miller, that's why he's perfect as Sinclair. I guess, I suppose. I don't know. Some of the things Ezra Miller did is just not cool across the board. Jack Gola thinks the what is it? The Wallflower Perks of Being a Wallflower movies. Great movie, he says.
Yep.
Jack, you're wrong. I'm surprised. You're wrong, dude. I think that Oliver is exactly like the new 52 Damian Wayne. Interesting. Have you probably would know more about this comparison than I would because I haven't really read much Damian Wayne.
Yeah.
Would you agree here or no?
I think it's pretty accurate. I think it deviates a little bit as Invincible continues. But initially,
Okay.
yes, he's very much like Damian Wayne, especially when we see kind of his actions with the Mahler twins. But yeah, I mean
Yeah.
that's pretty spot on. He does always he's always a problematic character, but just for a multitude of reasons. So that's where he kind of deviates. Damien, I think, has warmed people up to him at this point.
Yeah, that makes sense. And Batman over Robin, they're saving budget for the big stuff. I like Friendly Neighborhood Hood's animation. I could be better. It could be better, but they had deadlines.
Hmm.
Uh yeah, I mean, I guess you're right. They probably did have deadlines. True, they have Seth Rogen. I love Seth Rogen. I really do.
I
I think
hate Seth Rogen.
do you?
Yeah,
I think he's a super talented guy. And like I don't like some of like his movies like Pineapple Express, like I'm not a stoner,
yeah,
So I never really had been. So I've never been a huge fan of like those types of movies, but he's done some great comedic stuff that really is not like weed focused or whatever. And he produces a lot of great stuff. The
yeah. Let
Boys,
me
this
let me
show.
rephrase my statement. I don't hate
Okay.
Seth Rogen because I don't know him, but I
Okay.
don't like the sound of his voice, and I really, really don't like his movies. And him voicing Alan does not work for me. It didn't work for me in any of the other seasons, but every time I
Interesting.
hear it, I'm just like, that just does not sound like Alan in my head. So it's
It
headcanon being in the way, but still, it just doesn't work for me.
okay. No, that's fair. I think it is a very distinct voice, and I'm sure you're not the only one. I think it might be one of those things you either love it or you hate it almost.
Yeah.
And his voice and his laugh in particular it's Seth Rogen. You know it when you hear it. Very much so. Christian Convery is Oliver. Cool. Mark Hamill is Art. That's correct. Yeah, I always forget that. Yeah, I mean, like across the board, the cast is stacked. I saw something today too about how they always ask Bryan Cranston to play a character, to voice a character, and he always turns them down, and that's like become like a tradition. Yeah,
Why?
I don't know. I don't know. So maybe it'd be cool to see Bryan Cranston voice a character eventually.
Mhm.
I think he could do like a good job voicing the I can't remember the guy's name now. Like the big bad of the Viltrumite, like the final
Oh,
boss.
Thrag?
Thrag. I think that would work really well.
That would, yeah.
So I think they should get him for that. They
Yeah,
also
didn't
have
they announced the voice actor of Conquest, I think, right?
I don't know if they confirmed it. It's teased that it's the guy from Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. I can't remember his name now. I cannot remember his name. So they announced he was cast in the show,
Oh,
but
yeah.
they had not confirmed. I don't believe they confirmed it was Conquest, but a lot of people think it's Conquest because it wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
I can't remember the guy's name. He voices Jim Gordon too in Batman Arkham City.
Yeah, guy with the big mustache, right?
I think he had a goatee.
Maybe we're both. I'm not thinking of the right person then.
Let's see.
Is that
Jonathan Banks.
Jonathan Banks?
That's who they announced was in the show, but haven't confirmed who he was playing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So they think it's people assume it's Conquest.
Oh, yeah, that works. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
remembering his voice now.
he played Mike Ermitrout on the show.
Yeah, yeah. Mike was my favorite character from Breaking Bad.
I think I think Saul Goodman's my favorite character across the board.
I need to watch Better Call Saul.
I love Saul Goodman. I love him. Please don't spoil Invincible for me. Tyler, why don't you tell Alexander what the end of Invincible is? Why don't we get into that? No, we won't spoil it for you. Relax. I've only read
no spoils, just
issue
character names,
42.
but you don't know who they are or what they're
Yeah, it
doing.
doesn't matter for you. Who cares? Issue 42. How many issues are Invincible? Isn't it like 150 ish?
I was gonna say 130 was my guess.
Okay, you might be right. I just kind of guessed.
144.
All right, so we're both kind of right. We almost in the middle.
Yeah.
So second episode, I did like kind of the opening with Cecil and him in his heyday taking down those. I don't know if they were like communists or I don't know what type of. I don't know.
More freedom fighters. So from the comic, they were like trying to rally the world behind like a cataclysmic event, which is like kind of a theme that gets revisited a lot in Invincible. No spoils, not saying who, but it does get revisited. But yeah, I really like that scene too, and I liked the origin behind his, his scar and why it was kept and everything. So really good stuff.
I thought that was well done. Yeah. I will say I'm a big fan of Walter Goggins, who voices Cecil. I think he knocks it out of the park in this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like. I think he's just a good actor. Yeah, so I like that backstory. I like the backstory with Cecil in the prison and him kind of running the place, and I thought that was well done. I wish we saw how he kind of came into power in the prison. I wish that was shown rather than just skipping forward and like, oh yeah, he's in power now, but we don't like. I think it would have been cool to see that, to see how smart his character truly is. I think that would have been cool.
Yeah.
And then Mark and Invincible and Cecil kind of get into a fight, and yeah, I'm trying to remember when episode 2 ends, where it ends.
Kind of post fight. Them cleaning up the Guardians of the Globe headquarters, and which, on that topic, me and my wife watching both agree Rex is such a great character.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about Rex because I think his character really shines in this season so far.
Yeah.
And I think a bit in the second.
I honestly think he's shined in all seasons in some form or fashion, way more than the comics.
That's fair. I mean, in the first season, he's made out to be this kind of jerk and dick, cheated on Adam Eve, and that makes sense. But then he has had a really good character arc so far.
Yeah.
Just learning more about his backstory and us sympathizing with him, and I think he's grown as a character into this hero essentially. And
yeah,
I think it's awesome.
Which I think is a great decision. I mean, his character development throughout the story, which as far as his character development is, yeah, I mean, I think them putting even more focus on him as a character is going to make that development, kind of hit that much harder, which is going to be really, really great for people to experience. Because in the comics, when that level of development happened, you're kind of like,
Sure.
we barely even spent any time with this guy, unless you read the Adam Eve Rex Explode little mini or whatever. But yeah, I love that they're spending more time with that character. I really do.
I agree, and I think the voice actor is great.
Yeah,
he does a really good job. Yeah, I think he's quickly becoming one of my favorite characters in Invincible, to be honest with you. Yeah. So yeah, I liked his character a lot. I don't know what else there is to say about episode 2. I thought it was better than episode 1 for sure.
Ratings for episode 2.
I'd give it like an 8 out of 10, maybe 8.5, probably 8.5, because I'm trying to think of like anything that I didn't truly like, and other than I guess the tension not quite being there between Invincible and Cecil.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I think I gave episode 1 a 6, right? And I think I would maybe give this one like a 6.5.
6.5, really?
Yeah. The tension and the origin of it really killed it for me. I love Cecil's character in the comics, and I just feel like they kind of made him a good guy and made Mark just a whiny little brat. Like, what is going on? I don't know.
I do think there's going to be some sort of reveal that will get us back on the side of Mark more so.
I hope so.
And make us really dislike Cecil. I think they have to do that in order for that tension to pay off.
Yeah.
Because it seems like that's really going to be the main conflict of this season. And then I think Conquest is going to show up too and wreak havoc. So I don't know. Well, I think there'll be some sort of twist or something that will show us how Cecil is not a good guy, really. So episode 3, let's dive into that a little bit. I will say I really like Mark and not Amber, Eve's relationship and how that's explored. Yeah, I thought that was really well done. Yeah, I don't know.
I think as far as episode 3 goes, the standout is definitely Eve and Mark's relationship. They're probably my favorite relationship in comics. Like I remember reading it as a kid and it not kid, more of like a teenager, I guess. But
Mhm.
um it felt so mature but also like teenagery at the same time. So it was like I was
Yeah,
just at that like perfect age where it was like exciting for me to read about it.
sure.
Um, but going into what Alexander said, like I feel like the true standout of this portion of Invincible is Oliver and his struggle with, who he is and what's in his DNA and the Voltramite side of him and the moral and ethics that comes behind being a superhero and how he's just kind of struggling and to even grasp that portion of being a hero. Um, and I also love the symbolization of Mark leaving Cecil's shadow and getting like this new costume, and he's more kind of dark and
Mm.
edgy and black and blue. So I think
I didn't thought
episode
about it
3
like
was the
that.
strongest.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about the symbolization with the suits. So
Yeah.
that's interesting. You point that out. It makes sense. Yeah. Um, yeah, I think with Kid Omni Man, I think it's really well done there, and uh, I think the show does a really good job showing how different he is from Mark, and
Hmm.
where it seems like he does not see the flaws in Omni Man's thinking. You know, um, and that's a scary thing, right?
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see more of that fleshed out, and yeah, I like Kid Omni Man's character so far. I think he's super brutal. I like him taking down the Mauler twins. Um, so I'm excited to see more of that character and where
Yeah.
that goes. I think the
Yeah.
show
I,
does
I
a
think
really good job with that.
he's probably one of the standouts of just Invincible in general because I think when you look at Invincible as a story when it comes to its characters, like it is pretty, white or black. It's either people are
Mhm.
good guys or people are bad guys type of thing. And they all kind of operate in a morality of gray where they're doing things for a certain reason. But,
Right.
as far as the optics, you have good and bad. But Oliver has always been that middle tier character where he's not good or bad, he's just kind of doing what he feels is right, and that's not always good.
Yeah.
But in
He,
some regard it makes sense, like him taking
yeah.
out the Mahler twins. How many times have we seen the Mahler twins? Are we going to send them back to jail and they're going to break out again and wreak havoc again? I don't know, and he that's a conversation worth having and he's bringing that up.
I I completely agree. He's definitely a morally gray character,
Yeah.
uh, where he kind of teeters the line, um, and his motives of why he killed the Mauler twins makes perfect sense in his
Hmm.
eyes, and the story does a great job showing us why he believes that. Um, and I think he's right to a point, and um, like how many times are they going to escape? Kind of like what you were just saying. Um, Yeah, it brings up an interesting question and moral discussion that I think the show is going to explore a lot more, or I hope so at least. Um, yeah, because I'm trying to remember what happens with I kind of remember what happens with Kid Omni Man in the comics.
Hmm.
Um, but I remember like what happens to his character. I don't remember so much the in between.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah, I mean, a
so yeah,
decent amount of kind of the same. I mean, he stays a very complex character. So,
yeah,
for anybody that's watching this and you do like the morally gray, the guy that's asking the hard questions, I mean, just continue with Oliver's character because that's a common characteristic for who he is.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I'm excited to see what happens with that character. So what would you give this out of a 10?
This one I would probably give like an 8, and that's also, which we haven't even touched on this, but the beginning of this episode, with the two villains, um, and it's
Okay.
almost like a silent opening to the entire episode where it's two villains and they're robbing a bank, and you have
Oh my gosh,
Bulletproof
yeah.
fly in and stop them, and then you get to see the entire, behind the scenes of why they are villains, why they're robbing a bank, them struggling to pay bills, struggling to get a job, struggling to just exist, and why they're pushed to do that. So I thought like that was incredibly thought provoking just to start the episode like that, and then to just snowball right into like the struggle with morality and doing what's right and stuff between uh Kid Omni Man and Invincible and stuff. Like,
Yeah.
man, phenomenal episode. So good.
I honestly forgot about that opening sequence, but you're right. And that kind of goes along with I, maybe the theme of this season, which is, what's right and wrong. There's
Yeah.
always it's things tend to be gray, and I think that's Cecil's whole point. And I think even has a line in there that
Hmm.
the world is not black and white. There is always the kind of this gray area.
Yeah.
Um, and I think the show with that opening scene does a great job exploring that because you
Yeah.
quickly begin to sympathize with these two villains that we've seen before. Um, so that's interesting. Yeah. I can't believe I forgot about that. That's like
Yeah.
a big part of the show.
That blew me away.
Yeah.
Going into episode 3, like when they
I
were
really enjoyed it. Yeah.
and they also had like it was either a relationship or a friendship between the two, but they were
Uh,
doing life together in some form or
yeah.
fashion, and like just to sympathize with them in that regard. And the eviction notice sliding under the door, and if you've ever experienced that, it's like you've had that level of pure like
Dread.
you yeah, pure dread. You don't know what to do next, and
Yeah.
and then they say, well, I guess we're going to do it again.
Yeah. It's I think they were in a relationship. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I
Um,
only say I don't know because like you don't see them like romantically involved. Like they embrace as far as like hugs and stuff, but you don't really
yeah.
see like I hug my guy friends and stuff. So I mean I don't really know, but they were doing life in some form or fashion for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, I think that goes along with what we've seen with Kid and Omni Man and kind of where Cecil stands.
Yeah,
And I think that the way they portrayed that was beautifully done.
yeah,
Um,
it was touching.
yeah,
I mean, it really was. It was. I didn't expect it. It was very very well done.
it. I remember when I was watching it too. It definitely caught me off guard.
Yeah,
And then once we see Invincible and Kid Omni Man step in, you're like, oh no,
yeah.
you're rooting for the bad guys.
Yeah,
Uh,
it goes into it again, you're the hero of your own story, I mean, end of the day, like, you can sit and say you're doing the right thing, but to somebody else's lens, you are the bad guy, and that's what we saw right there, Invincible is the bad guy to those two individuals.
yeah, that's so true. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I'd probably give it this episode probably 8.5, I think.
yeah,
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 for sure. Really good. So, um, I guess wrapping up with the first 3 episodes here, what are you kind of looking forward to the most in this season without getting into heavy spoilers for Alexander, who we don't want to spoil anything for? Um,
um, I mean, obviously a very major character showing up and kind of making a statement, to say the least. I'm very excited for that, but most of all, I'm really excited for the um, kind of trials and tribulations that Mark is clearly going through,
yeah,
existing in his father's shadow, and now having this little version of his father that wants to borderline, I mean, not to the level that his dad did, but borderline commit the same atrocities, and his struggle with that. And I just always like seeing Invincible as a character that just never really gets the hang of being a superhero. He's just always trying his best, and he always comes up short. He wins the battle, but never the war, and I'm
Right.
excited to see them dive deep into that and him struggling with that, which we saw a lot in last season. So I hope they, keep hammering that home.
For sure. I'm excited to see Mark and Eve's relationship progress.
Yeah.
I'm excited to see Conquest show up. I think that will be exciting.
Hmm.
Very excited for that. So, I like I said, I watched episode 4. I enjoyed it. From what I'm hearing, you're definitely like episode 4 as well. So let's read some comments here. How do you know when I haven't read all of it? Because you're the goat, dude. Illuminati answered your
Got it.
question.
Yeah.
Because you're the goat, Alexander. We have Alex here. Alex, hope you're doing well, man. It's interesting that scene in the comics isn't a montage. It's an issue with full dialogue. Is a
Hmm.
montage. Never mind, I meant isn't. Okay. Okay. I don't remember that scene at all from the comics.
I don't
I don't.
either.
Yeah, so that is interesting. I think they do a great job with just the visual storytelling, which I always appreciate when really any form of whether it's comics, TV shows, movies, when they just solely rely on the visual aspect to tell a story. I always think that's just incredible.
Yeah.
And I think here it's really well done. Really
Yeah.
well done.
I agree. I think it was super ambitious, and I think anything that like takes that level of creativeness and ambition to tell a story in a different way than typical, it's pretty cool. Especially just how many people can view that and you know get something different out of it. I'm sure that's the cool part too.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. So Invincible season 3, I think we both recommend it to the viewers out there who have not watched it.
Yeah,
Um, I really enjoyed it. I hope in season 4, they do a little better with the animation.
yeah,
Maybe we'll see that in some later fight scenes in this season. We'll see. But yeah, I hope they really pick it up, I guess, with the animation style in season
yeah.
4. Yeah.
And
And I think it's already got renewed for season 4 and 5. I want to say.
I also hope that the coming fight scenes that we kind of keep tiptoeing around, I hope they do it justice. I don't want Invincible versus Omni Man, like, last 20-15 minutes of the episode is dedicated. I want like 2 whole episodes dedicated to it.
You
Because
want you want it to be like Dragon Ball Z with the fight scenes.
yeah, because I think that fight scene that we're referencing, I think it lasted like 3 or 4 issues.
I can't remember, to be honest with you, but I would not be surprised if that was the case.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
no joke. It was
that'd be
wild.
awesome. That'd be awesome. We'll see. Maybe they will bring it. Um, yeah, I think that would be incredible to see
And
that
also
fight scene.
Alexander, yeah, Alexander, not Alex. You're at issue, you said 42, but isn't this episode past 42 at this point?
Mm, I'm not sure. I think he was more talking about future spoilers. Like if we were gonna, because we were talking about kind of the bigger bad of the entire series. So
Yeah.
I think he was worried we were gonna like reveal the ending. I believe.
Let's see here.
Alex says I'm having problems with the show's pacing. I really thought we would get Invincible War episode 5 or 6, but it doesn't seem like we will. Hmm. We'll have to see.
Episode 5 or 6 of this season?
I think that, yeah.
No.
When do you think we'll see that?
I would probably assume season 4 would probably lead into it.
That's what I'm thinking too. I don't think we'll see that till season 4, but it is interesting because they teased the return of help me out here. What's his name? The big brain guy.
Oh, Angstrom Levy.
Yeah, they teased his return already at the end of episode 3.
Oh,
I
I'm
think.
sorry. Alex, yeah, you're correct. I misread what you said. I thought you meant Vulture War. Yes, Invincible War, I think, will be this season. I'm sorry.
Okay, yeah, yeah. I was gonna say that. I feel like they wouldn't have teased it if it wasn't going to be this season.
Yeah,
That they were
no,
gonna,
the
yeah,
intro alone shows that we're gonna get Invincible War this season.
yeah. So I wonder what will be. I wonder if we'll get the Invincible War before we get the Conquest fight. I can't remember what comes first in the comics.
They're literally one after another. It's aftermath of Invincible War immediately into Conquest arc.
I wonder if the season's going to end with like the Invincible War will be the last couple episodes, and then like the final scene of this season is going to be like Conquest, like flying down as like Mark's like being to bits, and that's going to be
That
the end.
that would make sense. That would be preferable because then you can end on um season this is season 3, right?
Yep.
So you can end or lead season 4 into that fight,
Yep.
end season 4 going into Vultremite War, which is what I was referencing of that's
Okay.
what will lead into. And then season 5 would be Vultremite War.
Got it. Okay. Yeah, we'll see. Maybe that's how it's going to play out. Um, that would be a big cliffhanger for sure if that's how this season ends with just a quick tease of Conquest coming down to fight Mark. That'd be crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
so he is pretty early now that I'm looking at the issue he's in. Super off topic, but I just wanted to see where he's at. But Alexander Miller issue right here, 42.
okay.
Which is very early. We're looking at Oliver and Invincible playing baseball, so we technically episode wise are past issue 42 technically.
Yeah, I think we are. How many seasons do you think this show's going to be? I would guess like 7 or 8.
My guess would be 7.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say probably 7 or 8.
I think if 5 encapsulates Vultremite War, which technically could be spanned into 2 seasons because you have the buildup of the Vultremite War and the preparation, and then you have the actual war taking place. So that could be 2 seasons. So you may be right with 8. But and then immediately after that, I can't imagine you having more than 2 seasons because it really does kind of get to the end a little bit quick at that rate.
Right, right. Tyler Invincible becomes Saiyan Saga into Namek Saga.
Namek, yeah.
Namek. I wasn't too far off. Just back to back with more intensity.
Yep.
And Revelations of Bloodlines and Legends. I think this is all Dragon Ball Z references.
I don't know what Revelations of Bloodlines and Legends is. If that is DBZ, I'm missing the reference, but the first one was, yes.
Okay. Revelations of Bloodlines and Legends. Okay, Alex, let us know if that is DBZ. Yeah, so I still think this is probably one of the greatest shows on right now.
Yep.
Even though I do have some criticisms, it's definitely one of those shows I will watch week to week, and I will be excited to watch the rest of the seasons. Yeah, it's really well done, the story and whatnot. I just hope and pray they do up the scale of the animation a little bit.
Yeah, I would agree. The beginning of the season had me wanting more, but season 3 has, or episode 3 has me really, really hopeful. So
Yeah.
fingers crossed I continue with that journey.
Yep. Cool. Yeah. So I guess once the season wraps up, we can talk about it again on one of our shows just to give a final review. Alex and DBZ in the Namek, is that how you say it? Saga, they
Yeah.
build up the Saiyan legends and tales of a Super Saiyan similar to Argyle and a certain person's bloodline.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Before we end, I did want to ask you or talk to you about your expectations a little bit with Captain America. I can't even remember the name of the movie now.
Brave New World.
Brave New World. Yeah.
Yeah.
The reviews are out. They've hit the scene. Have you seen any of the reviews? What are your thoughts on
I
Captain America?
have, and I've seen and I've watched tons of spoiler-free reviews on TikTok.
Okay.
So I'm I don't know. I even messaged my wife today when I was wrapping up at work, and I was like, "Hey, Captain America's not getting good reviews," and I put like a sad face because I want it to be so good,
I know.
But from what I've heard too, it depends on like the mindset you go into the movie with. Like if you go
Sure.
into it just kind of wanting to have fun and enjoy an action flick, then you might really enjoy it. So I don't know. I mean, I always go in with at least a 5 prepped and ready in my pocket. So that's me.
That's a good way to go into movies, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do not have a high expectations for this movie at all. But that could be a good thing. You know, I may be pleasantly surprised when I do watch it. Yeah, I was planning on going today, which I think I told you. But we've been getting hit with a lot of snow, so I was like, I'm not leaving the house today.
Yeah.
So I'm either going to go Sunday or maybe Monday.
Okay.
Perks of being unemployed, I guess. I can go see a movie on Monday during the day. So, yeah, I'm just going to go and enjoy some popcorn and some candy and like a Coke
Yeah.
and just try to turn off my brain and enjoy the movie. But I do not have high expectations for it. And the reviews didn't change that. I think we've talked about
Yeah.
my excitement level of this film at the beginning of the year. So, you know, I'm not surprised by the reviews. I'm disappointed though. You know, I want the movie to be good.
Yeah. Of course.
I
Yeah.
know you're a big fan of Captain America in particular, and I know you were very excited. So it's like, of course, I want this to be an amazing Captain America movie and a superhero movie. But from what I'm hearing, I don't know if it is. But
Yeah. And
we
honestly,
will.
I'm going to go into it also with a little bit of a spoiler under my belt because I did get something small spoiled, and that I'm already kind of annoyed about. Um,
Okay.
which obviously I'm not going to spoil
About,
it for you
about
guys.
the spoiler itself or finding out about it?
The spoiler itself, that
Okay.
something I wanted to happen and felt needed to happen did not happen.
I see. Okay.
That's the most I'll go into it. But yeah,
Okay.
so I'm already kind of let down about that, but I'm still going into it with a 5, ready to at least try to enjoy it. But I'll let you guys know my thoughts, of course.
Awesome. Yeah, you'll have to let me know what spoiler it was too on Tuesday.
Yeah,
Um, Alex says, I saw someone describe it as boring and I lost all interest. I'm kind of in the same boat. Like if we were not watching the movie for the show, I would definitely not go out of my way to see it.
yeah,
But obviously, we want to talk about it on the show, so I'll go watch it. Thunderbolts looks super fun. It's funny. My brother texted me, I think it was Thursday, and he likes more of the Marvel movies. He doesn't read too much comics.
hmm
Although he's reading Old Man Logan soon. And
ooh,
I told him, I said, you should call in. You can call into the show and give us a review of it. Yeah, he texted me Thursday and he asked me, he's like, are you going to see Captain America? I'm like, yeah, I'm going to, we're going to talk about it on the show, so yeah, I'm going to see it this weekend. And he's like, nice. I can't wait to see it. I'm so excited for it. And I don't know if the reviews were out at this point. I think they might have been, but he's like, I'm so excited for it. I think this and Thunderbolts are gonna like revamp the Marvel hype. And I'm like, you are very optimistic.
Yeah,
I do not share that opinion about Thunderbolts either. I will say the trailer looked better than I thought.
that's what I was gonna
Okay.
say. I thought Thunderbolts was kind of a Labruski movie based off the
Uh,
trailer.
no, I don't. Yeah, we're gonna see it for the show, so I'm definitely gonna watch it. And my expectations are a little higher than the Captain America movie. And then, like I said, the trailer looked better than I thought. Uh, I do like the cast. I like Florence Pugh, David Harper,
Yeah,
Sebastian Stan. So I think the roster of the Thunderbolts has that going for it. But from Marvel movies, I've kind of have expected the worst going into see them since like Endgame. And sometimes I'm pleasantly surprised. Sometimes I think, yeah, I was right. This is not that good. So Thunderbolts, I will say it looks pretty good. But it's my brother's very optimistic about both, and he thinks they're both gonna like revive the Marvel hype. And I'm like, I don't think so.
maybe
My money would be on Fantastic Four to do that. If
maybe
anything,
I gotta go see it with your brother. He
you,
seems like my cup of
yeah,
tea right there.
yeah. You might have to. You might have to make the trek up to New York to see it with him. But um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can have him call into on Tuesday and talk about what he thought. He
Yeah,
does have opinions about things, and he mostly likes the Marvel movies. He doesn't, like I said, he doesn't really read the comics and whatnot. But
that's fair.
yeah. So I'm gonna see it Sunday or Monday, I think, and I'm really just gonna go there and turn off my brain and hopefully enjoy a good action movie, like you were saying.
Yeah,
So we'll see.
yeah.
We'll see. I'll be excited to talk about it Thursday or Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I predict already we may be on opposite sides of the spectrums, but that always makes a really good show. So I'm down for that.
Yeah, that will make for an interesting show. And that, it's not a bad thing that we disagree on. If we agreed on everything, I think that would make the show pretty boring
Yeah,
and
I
not
agree.
not too good for
No,
conversation. So,
I like
um,
our difference in opinion, and I also like how much we derail this show constantly. It
it's
makes it really entertaining.
I've said this before. I think it's the charm of the show in a lot of
Yeah.
ways. You know, I think it's the charm of the show. Um, but anyhow, we've been going for a little over an hour now.
Yep.
Do you want to end it? Do you have big Valentine's Day plans with your wife? What's going on there?
Probably gonna watch episode 4,
Nice.
and then read Rain, and
Oh, rain. Okay.
that's probably about it. But no,
Nice.
we're celebrating Valentine's Day tomorrow with Cap 4, and then we're gonna get like dinner or something like that, probably.
Awesome. Well, that'll be cool. That'll be
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, okay. Let's end it here. I will be curious to know your thoughts on rain. I was talking to I think it was Bunk, I believe, and he had mixed feelings on it. Um I had I was working at a comic shop when that came out, and the art really appealed to me. And this is before I really know who Zoe Thorogood was, and I'm just like, that seems cool. So I read the first 3 or 4 issues, maybe. Um, so I do want to buy the nice hardcover eventually and reread it.
Yeah.
So I'd be curious to know your thoughts on that Tuesday if you finish it by then. Um,
Oh, I'll probably finish it by tonight, more than likely.
are you going to play Marvel Rivals? Do you think anytime soon?
Oh, soon, yeah, definitely. Probably not tonight, but yeah, at some point I'll be hopping back on. I gotta grind
Nice.
to become a pro.
You and me both. I've only been playing once a week now for my gaming stream, and it's been fun. I do enjoy the game, but I'm not like I get burnt out of it really quick. Like after
Yeah,
like an hour or two of playing it, I'm like, I've had enough. this is good for me. So, but it's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy it.
Yeah.
So,
It can get repetitive, that's for sure.
yeah, for sure. Maybe we'll have to do a gaming stream or something where we play it
Yeah.
and do an all-in-one nerd show while playing it. We'll see. We'll have to
That'd be awesome.
well, we'll have to figure it out. I will say the quality of my stream, because I stream from my PlayStation, and man, the quality is just not great. And I tried to use StreamYard and play it on my PC, but my PC just really can't run it too well and stream at the same time. So that was even worse. So I don't know. We'll have to try to figure something out with that. But
Yeah.
But all right, man. Listen, let's wrap it up. Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone, so much for watching tonight's show. We will be back live this upcoming Tuesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to talk about Captain America: Brave New World. So be sure to tune into that. Please, everyone, subscribe to the Luminerdi. Link in the description below if you have not done so already. And we will catch you in the next one. Take care, everyone.